Hi, this is the second video for Research Methods in Psychology, article review number 2. The title of the article I wish to review this week is Do Brain Workouts Work? Science is Sure by Tara Parker Pope, and this was published on the 10th of March 2014. And the purpose of this article was to basically do a comparative study on programs such as Luminosity and Neurologics and similar quote-unquote cognitive training programs which are supposed to increase people's reasoning skills and memory and such, of course for a modest fee. Now, this article doesn't debunk these products, nor does it exactly promote these products, but instead tends to take a bit of a neutral stance while offering evidence in both corners. And the opposition to these programs, there's the University of Oslo, Norway study, which basically says that while these games do make you better at these games, they don't make you necessarily better in cognitive reasoning or memory. So while playing a game that matches tiles may make you really good at games that make you match tiles, they won't make you remember somebody's name at a party, for instance. While the University of Washington, University of California, and NIH studies used a slightly different format. They actually, the University of Washington and NIH one in particular, actually used a driving simulator with much older patients in the active study, which is a study which is focused on the aging brain. Found that through the driving simulator, people were able to increase their spatial reasoning, their responses, as well as their short-term memories for quite a bit of time after these studies. Now, this relates to our course in particular because it actually touches on something that we often forget as students and we often forget as psychologists, in that a lot of our research and a lot of the ideas that we can have actually can become commercial products. And it's our duty to both promote these products where they're great, where they actually work out and they improve the lives of people, and to examine them more thoroughly to ensure that these products are in fact good for people after all, which actually may be more important than the first. It also relates to this course in the fact that these trials were randomized, which is a methodology approved of and actually mentioned earlier in this course. Now, this is actually quite an interesting article in the sense that I actually learned several things about these programs that I hadn't previously known. Because I'll admit, the first time I heard of these, the idea of a couple of games improving something called neuroplasticity or improving memory seemed like a bit of a joke to me. It was a great way for a couple of computer programmers and psychologists to make some money, and to be completely honest, I felt kind of bad that I hadn't thought of it already because, broke college student looking for a good scheme anytime. Now, that idea was a bit disproven because it was obvious that very large agencies that actually knew what they were talking about to a much greater extent than I would know, and who had much greater reputations than I ever will, were looking greatly into these studies as a way to improve life for very many people. And that is in itself is interesting, and it also provided a great avenue for researching more about this topic, about cognitive training. Now, the New York Times itself actually offered 3 articles of research in this exact area, which is fantastic because that gives you a great starting point. Also looking into cognitive training modules online through the approved programs like Luminosity and Neurologics, which is an Israeli company that also has very high reviews, makes it easy to actually check its validity yourself by just examining it from a psychological perspective. And other great ways to research this is just looking up cognitive modules through Google Scholar and through other resources which you could actually find at our library itself or through the Human Computer Interaction Lab at UCF, which I'm actually an avid part of, that we constantly are testing methodologies of using human computer interaction to improve cognitive skills in people that are usually disabled but could be applied to healthy persons as well. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great week.